Hey guys, welcome to another episode of Get a Life Podcast Kunai. I'm Tyson Mitsuki, joined by Bish Loves Mish.
Hello.
And by Joe.
I like your kids.
What?
What?
Did you just say into the microphone, I like your kids?
That was the joke.
I don't get it, Joe. I don't get it.
Here's the thing. It reminded me of my free company in Final Fantasy 14, where it's like we're just called Heidelin Children, and the description is just we like your kids.
The fuck? See, that's the police coming after you, Joe.
Okay. Let's start over. I'm sorry about that.
No, that's staying in the episode.
That's staying in the episode.
And you know what I like, Joe? I like your shirt. You know what I like? I also like your shirt too, Bish.
Oh, thanks. Call of Duty
Anyway.
Black Ops.
Wait, we're keeping it in?
Yeah, we're keeping
Yes, we're keeping it in.
You guys are fine with it?
Yeah, we're fine with it.
Yes.
It's only making you look bad, not me.
No. Don't be a wuss. Don't wuss out. Anyway, before this gets any more weird than what it's already been, we are bringing you a special episode of Get a Life Podcast Kunai today, and we're covering Dagashi Kashi this time around.
Woo.
So before we start, Bish has some important words for you.
So yeah, these are special episodes that will be aired once per season, covering one series in the most recent season of anime. So we went with, I believe this is the spring season?
This is the winter
season, but it just finished now, so we're covering it. With these episodes, our goal is to stay up to date with the new series, get a taste of what's new things and the industry has to offer, that kind of stuff. It also kind of gives us a chance to share our opinions on current anime, because obviously on Kunai, not all the anime we cover is current. Some of them are a few years old, that kind of stuff. So this is recently finished their simulcasts, and we want to discuss them with you, the listeners. So there are some restrictions to this. We won't be covering any sequels or prequels or spin-offs or any series that are over 13 episodes long, because the whole point of it is to get it to you guys as soon as possible. And these specials won't replace any monthly episodes, and they'll just air alongside them. And like regular episodes, we're not covering any of the source material to any shows that have them. So no manga discussions and no light novel discussions. And remember, we can be found on Stitcher and the iTunes Store, and now Google Play if you live in Canada and USA. So yeah, if you'd like to share your thoughts, you can.
United Kingdom citizens, you guys suck.
Whoa, Joe.
Wow.
Just midway through the disclaimer, you shouldn't be saying that we suck, alright? Alright? So yeah, if you'd like to share your thoughts, you can contact us on Twitter at GALPKunai or by email at galp.pea@gmail.com. And yeah, remember not to give us anything more than 30 episodes for your suggestions.
So with that disclaimer out of the way, let's just get some general info and the synopsis for Dagashi Kashi out of the way before we enter into the actual discussion. And it is as follows. Dagashi Kashi, meaning Shit Sweets Candy, is a slice of life show based on a manga penned by Koroyama, aired during the 2016 winter anime season. It spans 12 episodes, was produced by Animation Studio Feel, and directed by Shigehito Takayanagi. Out in the countryside, the Shikada family has ran a small candy store for 9 generations. Meet Kokonotsu Shikada, the newest heir to this shop. While an expert in selling customers the highly intricate dagashi sold at the store, he doesn't want to take in the reins. He dreams of becoming a manga artist instead. One day, Hotaru Shidare comes into the store and makes Kokonotsu's dad an offer to come work for the Shidare company her father presides over. He agrees on one condition: convince Kokonotsu to continue the family business. That feels simple enough, so let's start with first impressions. Bish, do you want to start?
Yeah, first impressions, to be honest, I really wasn't interested in this show. And then I started watching it, and I was like, I'm really not interested in this show. There were some things that caught my eye, and that was the candy. I recognized some of them, and I was like, oh man, this is kind of cool. This is stuff I know. I drink ramen, I eat these candies, so I was very interested in that kind of stuff. And that kind of let me stay for longer. But the first thing I noticed, first of all, was the characters and their weird eyes. It's just very weird for me. So it kind of put me off at the beginning, but I kind of was attracted to kind of continue the episode because of a certain individual who shall not be named, aka Hotaru. Because within the first episode, you see her taking a shower. Like, what? You can tell they only put that in there just...
I described her as the semen demon of Dagashi Kashi.
Joe, don't say that. She isn't... Well, at the same time, I could agree with you, because there is a scene in this anime where it looks like she's covered in that stuff.
Wow. You just had to bring the panty and stocking reference into this episode, right, Joe?
No, that wasn't a reference. Just look at her. She looks like she wants you.
Wow.
What the hell? Joe, man.
Joe, you disgust me.
What do you think I'm here for?
Get your first impressions out of the way before I kick you out of the call.
Alright, so I want to start off saying I love candy. I love like different kinds of candy. I like eating like anything related to candy. And like I've taken like a small break from it, and because like I've eaten it so much, and also American candy is also kind of like disgusted me. Like, as I've eaten it so much, it's kind of like I just can't eat this anymore. And and then I saw the Dagashi Kashi, and I'm like, well, first of all, like I decided to watch the Dagashi Kashi for 3 reasons. One, like it looked like the animation looked really cool, and like the story looked pretty cool from the preview that I saw. 2, Hotaru. And 3, like it was a whole show about candy. Like I'm like, oh, we're gonna see all these different kinds of candy throughout the show. They're gonna kind of incorporate that into the story, because like the entire show takes place in a candy shop. So I was really excited to watch it, and like after watching the first few episodes, I was hooked. Like I binged the entire show in one sitting.
I don't know why, but that sudden intake of breath that Joe made while he was mentioning Hotaru's name is actually concerning. Really is.
Potentially. I think so.
Well, that was breathing in with a smile, like with a grin on my face.
No, that's
Wow.
creepy, Joe. If people could see you now, they're like, what the hell is this guy doing? He should be put on some sort of candy blacklist.
No, bitch, what I'm gonna do is that I'm gonna imagine Phoenix Wright breathing in with a smile on his face. That's gonna be creepy as fuck.
It is creepy.
That's gonna haunt my dreams now.
If you guys didn't know, I'm Phoenix Wright IRL.
He is, indeed. Tyson, what was your first impressions?
Before I go into the first impressions part, I have to agree with Bish that this isn't a show that I would be normally interested in. For instance, when we conceived this special, there were several shows that we were interested in viewing, and Kevin just has to suggest the candy episode. Kevin, wherever you are, ace your tests.
Kevin, burning in hell.
Kevin, we hate you and you should feel bad.
What was the other choices? Because I think I wanted to pick Cop Block the anime, but we didn't get a chance to see that. Okay, I think it's called Nichiro Days or something like that. I wanted to choose that, but
Bish is pissed because it looks like a free ripoff.
I wanted that. I wanted a free ripoff to talk about, but okay.
Nichiro Days is called, and sadly it would have been chosen because 1 is a short, and 2 is longer than 13 episodes, so that immediately bumps it out of the selection. Anyway, for some reason Kevin and Joe were interested in candy anime, and for some reason that won, and they had to drag Bish and me alongside the way, and I'm like, this is not a show that I would watch. Oh, and by the way, I don't have the list in front of me. I don't think I have it. But one of the shows that I wanted to cover for this special was Erased.
That would have been good.
I would definitely have loved to cover that.
Aside from the Dagashi Kashi, I did suggest Erased as well, because I've watched Erased and God. Oh, God.
But Joe, this isn't an Erased episode. This is a Dagashi Kashi episode. So.
Okay.
Maybe we'll get the chance to discuss Erased later on, but continuing. So Dagashi Kashi won, and I'm like, this isn't a show that I would watch. Looking at the list of anime that were airing in the season, like say, am I gonna watch a show about candy? This is not something that I'd be interested in. And don't get me wrong, I love candy, but to watch people buying in a candy store, I mean, I wasn't quite clear on the concept of how a candy anime would work, but again, it was not for me. So when I first started watching the episode, I also noted the jarring art design. Hotaru has the Rinnegan. Saya has Hashiman eyes, for those who have seen Oregairu. Kokonotsu has like really wide eyes. I'm like, what the hell am I watching here? And the other thing that immediately stuck out to me is like the setting that is trying to establish. This is Japanese countryside, and the music that also goes along with it. I thought, I don't think this is an anime that's gonna last long. At this point, I didn't know Hotaru's role in the story, but I felt this is gonna be boring to watch. And I was watching it while it was simulcasted, so it's okay to have those thoughts, I suppose. But anyway, then Hotaru comes in with her eccentric personality, and I thought, okay, so maybe this has the potential to go on gags that may be funny, but most of the time it's surrounding around her boobs. I mean, oh my god, like I have a track record on the podcast and on my anime watching history of just disliking those type of jokes. Because like it's a really easy thing to get away with. The whole, oh, I have gigantic boobs. Oh, I'm gonna do all the fan service in the world. I'm like, dude, I don't need anime to titillate me. There's porn for that.
Are you implying something?
I'm implying that the show did with Hotaru many things that I do not approve of.
That's not what I meant.
If I'm to interject, when you mentioned the whole oppai thing and things like that, it kind of reminds me of, you know, how American humor tends to have a lot of toilet humor jokes. Like, there's a lot of jokes about farting and shit and things like that. I think for Japan, it's the same, but with breasts. Like, breasts is always a point of comedy for them.
Aren't toilet jokes child-level jokes?
Yeah, but isn't the same about breast jokes? I think that's the same sort of childlike humor.
But Bish, let's go back to Penny and Stocking. I dislike toilet humor. That doesn't change here. I'm not a fan of that type of humor. So, and the other thing that I noticed was that when I watched the first episode, I'm like, this also has a romance element with Saya having a crush and apparently Kokonotsu having a crush on Hotaru. So I don't know if the story was going to do anything with that little love triangle that they're trying to build up. Although it didn't prove to be much by the end of the episode. The story didn't do much with it. It may be another story in the manga, but the anime, they didn't do nothing with that.
Yeah, because if you see online, this is actually listed as a comedy/romance, which I completely disagree with. There is a slight kind of love triangle going on, but the anime doesn't really focus on that. It focuses more on selling candy.
In my opinion, like, I definitely do not see romance in this, but it's not blatant comedy. Like, sometimes it's blatant comedy in the show, and then sometimes it's kind of like comedy that, like, it's like personal comedy, if you know what I mean. Like, it's like you laugh at some stuff that you find funny.
I mentioned that I thought that Dagashi Kashi had good comedy pieces on the start, but as the show went on, I would go on to severely backtrack from that opinion, but I can discuss that in story.
Okay.
And on that same vein, let's start discussing story then.
I'll start. The thing is with the story is that there is a story, but it's just it's on the back burner. Like, the anime is
like
not...
the story isn't the focus of the show.
Yeah, exactly. The story isn't the main focus of the animation. The animation's main focus is to sell candy to you, the viewers. But at the same time, to sell candy, it uses very, very interesting story elements. Like, they would go back into flashbacks to sell candy, and this is one of...
I wouldn't say it's like a selling campaign.
I think it is, because there was this one episode where they were promoting the yogurt sweets, the one with the grape flavoring inside or something like that, and they had like 10 minutes was in this flashback with Kokonotsu and Saya-chan, and they were playing like this pretend game of doctor, and he was just giving the candy as medicine. So the anime does this quite a lot. They either go into like they segue into something, or they go back in time to try and sell you candy, which is quite interesting, but at the same time they use that kind of mechanic a lot in this anime. So for me, the story is just there as a back burner to sell candy. That's all it is. It's not really an amazing story.
The cynic side of me would say that this show is designed to sell me candy, and knowing the history of media, like when it began, it was basically companies funding programming to sell products, but I began to say it in another way. Probably Kotoyama is just a big fan of candy, and the ones who herald the production committee for Dagashi Kashi say, hey, let's get the Dagashi producers on board the production committee. Let's sell candy on this part. Whether on the manga, it would be like, hey, I'm a big fan of candy, and it represents as such. Or maybe Kotoyama is...
We don't necessarily talk about manga, but even the manga has references, and some candies are named.
Some or all of them?
Not all. Some.
I'd say the candy was more like more for the nostalgic factor, because it definitely went back to like it covered tons of candy. Like I can't even count how many they counted. Like they talked about. And I'd see, because like there are people who obviously grew up with this kind of candy.
Yeah, there is.
So it's like I'd say like this is kind of like a way of going down memory lane, and like it feels good like seeing them be reminded of this candy as a kid while having some kind of entertainment value as well.
That's precisely my point.
But let's not deny, people are going to go back into shops and going to buy these candies.
No, I have no doubt that after seeing the show, people are going to buy these candies.
I completely agree. Like, I can see the commercial purpose behind this, but what I'm trying to argue here is that it's possible, there's the possibility that Kotoyama was just reminiscing about all the candy that he ate as a kid, and hey, why not make a story around that?
One thing I did want to mention was that even in the West, when it was released in the West, as it was simulcast, we've seen a lot of companies focus on the candy from Dagashi Kashi. You know, there's a lot of tweets about it. Even to this day, there's like, oh look, buy our candy, it's featured in Dagashi Kashi, and those tweets are in English.
No, it's just those guys are trying to piggyback off the hype that the show has done for the candy itself. I don't think it's like a unified effort to...
Oh yeah, of course.
To sell the candy. It's just them having a piggyback right of it. Joe, so what do you have to say about the story?
Yeah, it's very basic. Like, I have to agree that the story isn't the focus of the show. It's kind of like those random moments that happen. It's like the show is unpredictable, in my opinion.
That's precisely when I mentioned the factoids, the general info part of the story. I mentioned that it was a slice of life. So I did read the genre calling it a comedy and a romance, and I don't agree with either label.
Well, I don't agree with the romance, but I do agree with comedy.
I plan to say some things about the comedy aspect of Dagashi Kashi that hopefully will make you think about of that label, but let's just get into the story then. I also had to agree with Bish. Stories in the back burner. I mean,
they only mention it like 2 or 3 times.
Exactly. On the first episode, and I think it was on the 11th episode when
Kokonotsu
and when Kokonotsu and Hotaru were sitting on the train, they were like, "Are you really waiting for me to come over?" Something like, and I'm paraphrasing here. Hotaru, you really you remember when you came to town to scout my dad? It was mentioned like 2 or 3 times in the story. So
yeah,
when faced with that scenario, I'm thinking that it's maybe a story talking about the characters themselves and how they interact. Like, Dagashi Kashi lends itself to a lot of what's the word that I'm looking for here? Because it says it's a comedy, but when Dagashi Kashi planned to do comedy, like they're writing a script to be comedic on purpose, it fails spectacularly. And the prime example of that was, let's see...
Well, I mean, there isn't really a thing as accidentally creating something funny when you're trying to make an anime, because you're intentionally putting this stuff in.
The writing of episode 9 is written deliberately to deliver comedy, and I found myself not laughing at many of the jokes that this show had.
I mean, that's just more like you didn't enjoy the comedy. That doesn't mean it isn't comedy.
The thing is, I think the comedy is quite poor, especially in that episode. Because, you know, I understand the joke is...
the ulcer.
Well, I know, but like it's just more like you didn't find it funny. That's
No,
still like
no, but I
itself
think
comedy.
it's still very
Like,
poor comedy. I don't think it can even be considered as
that's
comedy
why,
at that point.
Well, I'm just kind of argue that like the comedy tag makes sense because it does have bits of comedy no matter how much you hated it or liked it.
Okay.
What I think about Dagashi Kashi as a comedy is that I cannot label it as such. And then, should we insist on the label of labeling Dagashi Kashi as a comedy, I would say it's a awful comedy. There are better comedies out there.
It's an animation that is, as Tyson mentioned before, it's a slice of life and it does have comedic moments, but just because something has comedic moments, I wouldn't say it's a comedy. And speaking about episode 9, like, there was a lot of issues with that comedy as well. There were some jokes that didn't translate properly, especially with the Dagashi with the animal, and it has like the chocolate inside, like Smarties or something like that, like those little M&Ms that came out.
Can I say it was more amusing than it was funny?
Maybe, but to be honest, it was translated horrendously. I don't know why, but I understand it's very difficult for them to translate it, but at the same time, the joke she was making was she was pretty much calling the chocolate shit.
Dumplings.
Like she was,
dumplings shit. Yeah.
Yeah, she was calling them literal shit coming out of the thing, and it didn't quite.
You enjoy toilet humor, Joe, so of course you're gonna find that funny.
Not just
I didn't find the jokes itself funny. I found Saya's reactions funny.
Yeah, Saya's reaction was funny, but at the same time, it wasn't properly translated in a way that we understand that she was making a mistake in how she was saying it, because what she was saying and what Saya meant for her to say was still translated as the same thing in English, when in fact there are two different words that they were trying to say. Do you see what I mean? And that kind of ruined it even more. I think people in Japan might understand the joke a lot more, or people who understand Japanese would understand this joke a lot more because of the differences in the words. But in English, they just use the same word. Yeah.
All I know is that I remember, I recall that episode, I think it was episode 12, the one with the dumplings. No, episode 11, sorry. And also episode 9 had it tried to start an arc, because the thing with Dagashi Kashi is that most of the episodes are very self-contained. They don't contribute to an overall cohesiveness of the story. Also, another thing I observed is that they're divided into segments. Like, on the Japanese animation of today, there's A part and B part. A part was one story, B part was another story. Sometimes they woven them together, but overall they just hold weight on their own.
No, it reminded me of Panty and Stocking structure, where like it was all like self-contained, and then it had like some kind of arc around the ends.
Yeah, I don't know if this is taken straight from American animation or just that I sure as hell know that the manga it doesn't has this kind of structure, but maybe for the anime it worked for it so that they can cover more material. But I just want to get back into the comedy bit here, because I've been trying to argue that as a comedy it fails spectacularly, and when it tries to derive laughs intentional, like I'm writing this as a joke, haha, you're supposed to laugh. No, it doesn't work like that. And episode 9 was just a train wreck because its writing was deliberately written as a comedy, and it didn't work. However, the kind of comedy that works in Dagashi Kashi is the unintended one. For instance, reactions, things in when they adapt the characters' personalities, how they would react.
Yeah.
And it's not necessarily written like a line that makes you laugh or you're supposed to laugh at, but when faced with that scenario, there's more potential of comedy in those little tidbits than a whole episode written with the purpose of introducing comedy that says, what? Am I supposed to laugh at this? Because I didn't. So that's probably my issue with with both the comedy on Dagashi Kashi and the comedy label to apply to this show as a whole.
Well, that's the comedy that I was talking about. It's like just seeing the reactions of everyone. Those were funny.
You could probably make the argument of that, but
to be honest, every anime that I've seen has that kind of reaction style comedy.
Exactly, and just labeling it as a comedy because of that, I don't agree. I don't agree with that. There's also another thing that I wanted to mention about the story. This could go straight into characters. We mentioned the interaction of the characters. At least on the story, they come across as very heartwarming. They come across as friends talking to each other, which could probably be the argument to be made, like, hey, this is what all slice of life shows does. But it was generally endearing just to watch these characters talk, interact with each other. It gives off the vibe that they're really friends. And even Hotaru, the outsider, quickly became part of the group. What do you guys have to say about that?
That's something that I wouldn't say it's a gripe, but it's something that kind of annoyed me. That, at first there was this rivalry between Hotaru and Saya-chan, but then...
Rivalry? No.
For me, it felt like a rivalry, or at least there was some sort of...
When in any part of it was the rivalry?
I felt that there was some tension between the two characters.
Can you back up that opinion?
It was within the first episodes, and then I think there's something happened, and then she started calling her master. And that because it was so spontaneous that her opinion changed like that, it was just disappointing to me. It was just like, okay.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
I don't either.
What?
I don't either. I thought the rivalry was between Hotaru and Kokonotsu, but Hotaru and Saya? If anything, Hotaru has a admiration of Saya. If anything.
Yeah, they both have
but
a
before
friendly
that
relationship.
admiration...
No, there wasn't even before the master part. Like, they were just talking. They met in a coffee shop and they were just chatting.
Exactly. If anything, Bish, remember that Saya helped out Hotaru when she fell off the bike into the rice field on the very first episode.
Yeah,
so,
but she didn't...
True.
So if anything,
what I'm
they
saying
don't have
here, let me defend myself, yeah? Because for me, I can tell, like, from the beginning, I thought, before knowing any information about this anime, I felt that Hotaru had something going on with Kokonotsu. Maybe she had some feelings, but by the end, it was very clear that wasn't the case, and it was more the case of Saya having that sort of feelings as well. So then I thought, okay, these are the two female characters, and assuming that this was going to be a romance, which it isn't, I thought that they were going to go for like Kokonotsu. So that's where I thought about that. I was thinking, shit, what's going on? And then they just, I don't know, it felt very weird for me when she started calling her master, and it was like, it was kind of this weird senpai relationship in some way, or sensei relationship. It just did not make any sense to me. I was like, why is that relationship there? It felt very, I wouldn't say forced, but it was just there for being there, as opposed to actually having some sort of meaning behind it. To me, personally.
If anything, Hotaru admires Saya for her knowledge on Dagashi. And we're talking about Hotaru. She's a Dagashi otaku. So anyone that even gives the appearance that knows as much as Dagashi as her, then she pretty much reveres them. So I think it stems more from that rather than some sort of admiration that they may have or something.
Potentially. I just think it was very dumb.
There's one last thing I want to introduce about the story that I found interesting. I mentioned previously that pretty much all these stories are self-contained, but episode 9 also introduces an arc. When Hotaru gets an ulcer in her mouth just because of eating too much Dagashi. And that lasted for 2 episodes, 4 parts. What do you guys thought about that?
Well, I mean, I actually didn't notice it much. I thought it was just kind of like a one scene gag they were going for. And I didn't realize that it ended up being this huge, like, big deal until they finally showed her with, like, the giant ochre.
Yeah, I agree with Joe there. I didn't really pay too much attention to it.
I found that interesting because previously all the stories were self-contained, and this little arc here is designed to just...
But why do you think they've done that?
I think it's designed to... I don't
want to call it an arc because, like, they kind of didn't... Well, they built up to it, but they kind of made it so, like, is that you don't really notice it. You kind of just brush it off. With an arc,
no, but at the same time, that's the
it.
linking element between the subsequent episodes.
Yeah, and remember, all the sense of Dagashi Kashi is just to sell you candy. Throughout the episodes, it's just Hotaru explaining what this candy is to either Kokonotsu, Saya, or even To, because he has got his fair of screen time by being explained stuff by Hotaru. So you introduce this episode, which I'm calling it an arc, but it may be something else, in which you break the structure of the story from what you have done previously and say, hey, there may be something here. And there was absolutely no build up to it. Before episode 9, there wasn't any sort of indication that Hotaru would get an ulcer at all. It was introduced in episode 9, and episode 10, she was just laying there in bed, like sick from the ulcer. So you broke the presentation of the story, which was largely very self-contained, and did something that is overarching. And I personally found that interesting.
I found it kind of confusing, to be honest, because if they wanted to go with that, why wouldn't they have done it earlier? Like, as you mentioned, the ulcer came out of nowhere.
Mm-hmm.
That didn't sit well with me.
It was probably because there's so much you can do with the structure of Hotaru explaining Dagashi to Kokonotsu. So that's why they introduced Hotaru explaining Dagashi to Saya, Hotaru explaining Dagashi to To, Hotaru explaining Dagashi to either the three of them together, something like that. They have to keep coming up with new methods of how to present Dagashi and not feel tiring or boring to the viewer. So that's why I think this ulcer came out of nowhere, and just to make, in a way, how to best put it, I think that kind of arc was put in there to show some sort of character development as to how close Saya and Kokonotsu has gotten to Hotaru. When I think of it that way, is how it only makes sense. And again, this whole story is on the whole overarching story. The one where Hotaru was sent into town to scout you was basically in the back burner. But by this point in episode 9, we have already established that this is about the characters of this town and how Hotaru, with her antics, tries to shake up the foundations of this town.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Because otherwise, it would be a really boring story. There's no nice way to put it. It's really not.
Yeah, I understand what you mean.
Okay, so let's see. What do we got next? Oh, favorite episode and moments. What were yours?
Oh, my favorite episode? Let me just remember it now. It was the episode...
If you remember the theme, that's okay. I can probably look it up here.
What episode was it? Shit, it was just in my mind.
Well, while you're thinking, can I say my favorite episode?
Yeah.
I have two favorite episodes. One, like I found one because that one I just found really funny. The other episode, I'd probably feel bad if I told you guys what it was. Okay, so first one's episode 8 with the scary stories.
Okay.
And the fortune telling one.
Okay.
Because like I liked how like they kind of went together, and like I like how they incorporated candy into ghost stories. I'm like, okay, so that's how they're gonna do it because you see To just telling these stories, and then you see Saya just reacting and like it's like all scared. It's like, stop telling me these stories. And then it's like, and then Hotaru just goes in, and then she's like, you know what you need? You need some super scary story gum. The ghost will go away if they take this gum. And then
and she was basically reciting stories from those gums as well.
Yeah. Yeah, and then around the end of that part of the episode when Yo comes in with the flashlight.
Oh yeah,
it's like, be gone, evil spirits.
He looked like a total ghost there. That's episode 8 A part. Did you like the B part of that episode or just that part?
Of course Joe loved the B part because there was something going on right at the end of that episode.
No, it's not because of the panty shot.
It was because of the panty shot, Joe.
No, I just like it's more like I like the reaction between To and Kokonotsu. It's because like they're really funny together. It's like, and then when they're opening the candy together, it's like they see like all these different predictions, and then like around the end when like they're It's like they're wish, like they pop like a wish candy out, and then and then they see Hotaru passing by, and then she just jumps away, and then they just look under her skirt, and
You loot
like,
person.
this candy's real.
You loot person. You loot person.
Come on, they didn't even show her skirt.
Wow.
Wow.
They didn't even show it.
Wow. Joe.
If you pause at the right moment, you got to see some. No, I don't know.
I do have one comment because apparently on the latter part of Dagashi Kashi, the fortune telling becomes sort of a recurrent topic. Are those kind of are those kind of Dagashis popular in Japan, like the fortune telling stuff? Because I
do not know.
I think they feature at least 3 of them that were based around.
They had the fortune telling chocolates. I know that. They also had a different type of... They had quite a lot, as you mentioned. But it might be the case that, yes, it is popular in Japan.
Well, maybe it's popular among women.
How so?
Because I'm just making a joke because in the show they, like, said, like... Oh, like, women are very attracted to fortune telling.
Yeah, the show did mention that. At least Toe, but... Hey, he's Toe. He's like if he tries to be a womanizer.
He's a total bro.
Toe is the shoe of the show.
Exactly. Exactly.
Except he's much better. I have one more episode. It's actually, I'd say this one's probably like my favorite. It's generic, but the summer festival. Like, I love summer festival episodes.
That was something
so
that I was gonna say as well. Yeah,
I love that episode as well.
It's like it was very beautiful with the different reactions, and like it's like how everyone is having fun, and like how Saya went into the backstory with like Kokonotsu and like how they're connected. It's very cool. I mean, it was very beautiful.
That's another episode. That was one of the episodes that I enjoyed, and this is me being the kind of shoujo guy, in the sense that I'm a big fan of romance anime, and those two, that episode and the episode where they go back in time and play doctor, those were the 2 episodes that I really enjoyed, mainly for those elements, because you got to see the relationship between Saya and Kokonotsu, and it was just pretty cute. Like, I liked the flashbacks in the festival episode, because you can pretty much see that he does the same things again. Like, he's doing stuff from the past, and he's just so kind of selfless in a way. Like, he gives the goldfish to her, even though she already has it from last time, and she still kept it in the cafe. That kind of stuff, which I thought that was very cute, I have to admit. And the other episode was the Doctor episode. I like that one, mainly because
episode 6 B part, the yogurt episode. Okay.
Yeah, the one about the yogurt candies. What I liked about it was kind of funny. It was dry humor in a sense, but because we knew it was going to come, and we knew he was going to say the same thing, have some medicine, and she's just there, she just wants to be embraced by Kokonotsu, like every time, oh, examine me. I found that cute, but at the same time I felt it went a bit too far when she was like, oh, I have like chest pains and things like that, examine me, Kokonotsu. She just wanted to be touched by him in that way. That kind of freaked me out. I think that was a bit too far there.
I thought the same thing, but I didn't really think much of it. The reason for that is because like they're really young, so like girls aren't really like developed.
I thought the same too.
Potentially.
It's like they're children. It's kind of like they're having fun. They don't really know about this kind of stuff, so I kind of let it slide.
They don't know about this kind of stuff, but the people that are writing do.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what I think. I think it was a bit too much.
Well, they did a really good job with capturing how a child would think.
Yeah, of course, but
that's kind of the intention.
At the same time, like, let's be honest, she had a crush on Kokonotsu since she was very young. Yeah, and she wants to be embraced by him. I understand that. I just felt that the chest part was a bit too much there. Everything else was cute, and I liked Kokonotsu's response. Here, have some medicine. Like, for like the dumbest things, he would say, here, have some medicine. Oh, I have. Have you ever gone to a doctor? And then he goes up to you, like, you have like heart palpitations, and he's just like, yeah, have some medicine, without him looking at you or even examining your heart or anything like that.
That's the whole point. They're playing doctor.
That's kind of the point. But he's supposed to, like, Kokonatsu's supposed to be unaware.
Exactly.
I understand, but what I found funny was that he was very focused on the Dagashi, and he didn't actually understand the point of the game, because Saya is saying, like, if you compare how Saya reacts Like when she's examining him, as opposed to the flip side, Kokonotsu is just, yeah, have some candy. That's basically what he's saying. So I found that hilarious. That's why I liked that episode.
To kind of beat the dead horse, I also love the summer festival episode, and I personally will take it a step further. I think that out of all these summer episodes that I have seen in anime so far, I think Dagashi Kashi has the best one. The best summer special episode.
You shouldn't be saying that. You shouldn't be saying that. You haven't seen Toradora.
I haven't seen Toradora, so my opinion may change. You haven't
seen Golden Time, so you need to see those before you can comment that.
I will make the comment because I saw Haganai saying, it feels kind of stereotypical. There are tropes in anime, like for instance, the beach episode, the summer festival episode, and I'm like, I'm expecting all these kind of things from those kind of episodes, like for instance, beach episode fan service in summer festivals. I'm just watching these guys get together, trying to show the character development, but for some reason, I think the fact that I care about the relationship that Kokonotsu and Saya has made it all the more special. And that's why I like it so much. Again, I haven't seen Toradora, I haven't seen Golden Time. I may have to backtrack of this opinion, but as it currently stands, I think that the summer episode of Dagashi Kashi is the best one that I have seen yet.
Fair enough.
But if you want another opinion, I also like the summer festival episode because Hotaru was largely silent. Do you remember when she was die cutting?
Oh yeah, she was just so focused on it. Like, she made it so perfect that the guy was like, "Oh my god, I can't find any flaws in this to rip you off."
Mm-hmm. And also, it lends itself to some very cute frames of Hotaru. I mean, like her focused face, like, oh my god, finally they're focusing on something of Hotaru that's not her boobs. So,
well, to be honest, I think even the characters realize that as well, because they say a line in that episode and they say, "Oh, she's much cuter when she's not talking."
Yeah, I felt really bad around that part of the episode because like Toe ended up making like another like possibly perfect one, and he just trips and breaks it.
The thing is, he went for the most difficult one. Like
I know,
the one that was going to give him the highest
payout. He was ready to get like 5,000 yen, I think.
Yeah,
I thought Hotaru made the most difficult one. How so?
No, he was actually going to make the most difficult one.
Yeah, no, they imply that he spent like an insane amount of time on it.
And the thing is, and Kokonotsu says, "Oh, and you went for the top one." So that assumes that he made one of the most difficult ones. He was going to get a lot of money for it, and pow.
He just trips.
He trips right at the end, and it breaks in the stem. That's like the shittiest part for it to break in. I was like, shit, no.
Yeah.
I felt really bad for him.
He's like, I'm just gonna call it.
It pained me when I saw that. It literally did.
Yeah.
Oh, like, that's like the perfect cut. That's like the thing itself, just giving you a giant middle finger and just cutting itself perfectly in half.
So that's my favorite episode. I really don't have any more. I do have a list here of favorite moments, but I'm gonna limit myself to 2 of them.
I have a couple more favorites, but that I'm not gonna. I don't want to go too far. I don't want ones to drag.
On my document, I have 10 points, so I'm not gonna go through all of those, but I'm gonna limit myself to 2. But again, Summer Festival, this is my favorite episode. Probably is the best episode, the best Summer Festival episode that I've seen. But in favorite moments, there's this instance in episode 4 when Kokonotsu and Hotaru were running towards Cafe Endo that Kokonotsu left his drawing notebook there. And since Toe messed it all up because, hey, the focus of the girls are the boobs, and Kokonotsu doesn't know how to draw boobs, so
nor did he want it in the first place.
So anyway, he left the notebook on the cafe, and they were running towards the cafe. The episode itself didn't have, I think, the part where Hotaru lands that she messes up all the elderly can buy over there. I suppose that if you are into cruel comedy, you can find some enjoyment out of that. But
actually, something I'm sorry, Tyson, but something I noticed in that episode was that the candy was made by Glico.
Glico, yeah, it was Glico.
Yeah, the people that made Pocky. So I'm like, because I did research on it like a while ago for one of my school projects. on like the Glico and the company. So I found that really cool to see like a product from that they made in that show.
The thing is, Glico, they're very, very like big company.
Yeah,
they
like,
don't just do Pocky. They do like
I know you don't do
potato
Pocky.
chips
Like
and things like that.
I've done research on it. They've done so much stuff. It's unbelievable.
Anyway, when there's a part in which they run through the beach, and I'm like, whoever drew these backgrounds, they are so beautiful. I just been marveled at how the beach was drawn, the painstakingly detailed a bit, and I'm like, this is beautiful. This is really beautiful. So I enjoyed that part of the episode. I suppose I can say a comedic one in which I saw some value. In episode 5, where Kokonotsu's dad was making reviews for YouTube. And like, oh my god. Oh my god.
It's like, yo, I'm yo,
I am Joe. Yo, I am Joe. And I'm like, this is so fucking bad, it's good. This is the kind of humor that I saw in there.
No, I like how Kokonotsu just went all out on him after making a video like that. He's like, what's your problem? Like, why are you like recording like this? Like, this isn't how you're supposed to do it. And he like goes into describe like all of these, like this history about like the candy he was talking about. I think it was Baby Star Ramen.
Let's see, it was Baby Star Ramen. Yes.
Yeah, like they were, like, and then like Kokonotsu just like gets all into it and he starts describing the whole history behind it, and then the video goes online and then it gets tons of views.
Yeah, I think Hotaru wanted to see that because Kokonotsu's dad reviews didn't do so well, but Kokonotsu's one did superbly, and she like I did saw humor in that part. Okay, one more moment. Let's
Tyson, you have much more like favorite moments than I thought you did.
Okay, I'm gonna do this last one. In episode 2, before Hotaru giving a lesson on how Dagashi is marketed, she put some eyeglasses. I'm so fucking weak to the librarian look. This is one of the reasons why I like Bayonetta.
We're going full on Tyson mode now.
Yeah, I really don't have more to say to that. It's just that. I mean, the Dagashi marketing lesson was interesting, but the favorite moment there is just when she puts on her glasses, and I'm like, oh my god, Hotaru.
So your favorite moment is effectively a fetish.
Exactly.
That's what you're saying.
Exactly.
Okay, fair enough.
Exactly. Like I said, I have much more, but I'm gonna limit myself to these 3. So next up, characters. What do you guys think about the cast of the show? And let's talk about and let's start by Kokonotsu.
Can I actually start with this? Because there's something I want to talk about. There are only 5 characters in the show. I don't know. It felt like family. Like the show felt I felt like I was right at home when I was watching it, because they had the small cast of characters, but they all interacted in this way where like they kind of like all knew each other very well, and like it just felt like one big family just having fun and doing random things.
Yeah, it's part of the feel-good nature that at least I described during the story of one of the pros of the show itself.
Yeah, it just makes you feel good.
Mm-hmm. So, Kokonotsu, what do you have to say about him, Joe?
Kokonotsu? I don't know. He's really like I haven't seen. This isn't the first time I've seen a character like him. Like I see him like. It's like, well, first he starts off as like he's like that kind of like main protagonist, has a main protagonist tropes where it's like he's kind of calm and like he's reserved, and like he doesn't like looking at anything like very kinky or sketchy or something like that, and then like deep inside he kind of has that small perverted nature and like that desire to be like a man.
Yeah, on the later episodes, this is very prevalent.
Yeah. So like that's kind of how I saw Kokonotsu. Like he was, for like as far as like random like main protagonist tropes go, he was alright. Like there's not much else to say. He didn't stand out much.
Bish?
I have a lot to say about Kokonotsu. I like him as a character. I find that at times, towards the beginning, he was quite stubborn. You know, he was like, "No, I'm not gonna take over my dad's company, man." And then throughout the animation, you actually see him kind of grow, and he's kind of settling in. He's talking more about Dagashi, whereas in the beginning he wouldn't as much, which I like. I like seeing him grow. But my main issue with Kokonotsu is his character design. Like, to me, he looks like a dank Kirito. He looks like he's Kirito. Yeah, no, man, I don't. You know Kirito from Sword Art Online. He looks pretty similar to him. He has similar hairstyle, but his eyes, his pupils are so like dilated.
He looks so lost all the time.
He looks dopey. Like, he looks like he's been smoking a lot of weed. That's what he looks like.
Wow.
Do you know what I mean? Wow. Even his character design, like, I'm not going to go with stereotypes here, but he wearing baggy clothes and things like that, but he just looks so lost all the time, and his eyes are just so weird. To be honest, that's why I kind of think of him as the dank Kirito. I don't really like his character design. And his voice doesn't suit his look. Like, do you know what I mean? At least not in Japanese. I think in English it was a better job, like, in terms of his voice.
Oh, you managed to listen to the dub? Because
yeah, I managed to listen to the dub. The reason I listened to the dub was because I was really upset about the translation in the in some episodes. So I decided to rewatch them in English.
Okay.
And yeah, and fun fact: the guy that voices Kokonotsu in English,
Todd Haberkorn.
is the voice.
Todd Haberkorn
Is he's the voice of Haruka Nanase from Free. So Tyson, just saying.
The only notable characteristic that bitch can think of.
No, because Todd Haberkorn has more popular roles. Like, for instance, Natsu in Fairy Tail. He basically voices the main character of Fairy Tail. But yeah, Todd Haberkorn did Kokonotsu in the English dub. I haven't listened to the English dub, but well, I did listen to one episode, and while the performance was okay, I had my issues with the script, like how they introduce stuff, and I'm like, oh my god, no.
Another thing with the script, I just want to talk about it very briefly, is the how they handle different accents. Like, this is something in games and in anime a lot. When they want to do a Kansai accent and they try and bring that into English, for some reason, it's like they have to go with like a southern accent or something like that, or like a completely different American accent, and I don't know how it works. Like, how can you expect someone to say that they're from Osaka and then come out with a southern accent? It does not make any sense.
By the way, that Osaka thing that Hotaru mentioned, that was a joke. She's from Osaka.
Yeah, I understand. I know it was a joke, but what I'm saying is that when it was done in the English dub, it was poorly done, because for some reason they decided to give her a Southern Belle accent, like something from south of America, or south of the United States of America, and it just didn't fit. But I've noticed that's a trend in anime and games. They tend to give them like the weirdest accent possible when they want to portray a Kansai accent. But
I think they go with a staple, more so that I don't know.
I think it could have been done better, because I believe in Persona Arena, I know this is a game, but I guess she has... Oh, Labris, sorry.
Do you want to talk about Labris?
Labris, she has, I think she's from like New Jersey or something. And she's supposed, in the Japanese dub, she has a Kansai accent. I think that worked really well. Mm-hmm. But I don't know why do they have to go with the southern accents, or like a Texan accent. Possibly because
Funimation is in Texas.
Funimation is in Texas, but maybe.
It's possibly because of that, but I won't venture on making comments on the voice acting because I haven't seen the dub. And even for me, talking about voice acting can sometimes be sort of a landmine, because I don't really follow that seiyuu field to see if I didn't like this character, who would I think would have voiced it better. So I'm really not getting into that minefield. As for my feelings on Kokonotsu, I have to say, I enjoyed the part in which people just when he was annoyed that he was being called Coconuts instead of Kokonotsu, and it's and it's a pun on his name, because Kokonotsu is spelled how it's spelled, and coconuts in Japanese, which is spelled very similar to his name, but instead of an O of the third O, you replace it with an A. So Kokonatsu with an A, it would mean coconuts. And at the beginning, he felt very annoyed, and I don't know, that kind of cruel humor appealed to me for some reason. I'm indifferent towards Kokonotsu. I neither like him nor hate him.
So he's just there.
Yeah.
I think it's a byproduct of the setting as well. I mean, this is a rural town, and I don't have any hopes of the local characters being as interesting, I think. Any comments on the father, Joe Shikada?
Oh my god, that guy. He is best girl of this anime. I'm gonna stick with that. This guy is like my favorite character. He's just too funny. Like without him, I think this anime I would have dropped it ages ago. He brings the comedy. He's dopey at times, and his son has to kind of correct him. But I like that, especially in the episode of the festival when he's having this argument with the other woman. I found that absolutely hilarious. Like this guy does not stop to just make me laugh.
If you try to stop me one more time, I will stop sharing my baby star ramen.
Oh yeah, because it's an ingredient she needs for one of her products. I don't remember the name now.
Another thing is there was that one episode when he was like the lifeguard. And he done
episode 3. That
was fucking hilarious. I love that. That's when I started to love him. I was like, this guy. They should just make a spin-off anime about him. Maybe a couple of OVAs just about him. Because he's just so good.
Joe?
You know what? I wouldn't be against that. Wait, what?
Joe, what do you have to say on Joe?
Basically, bitch said. Except, I never thought of him as a best girl, but now I'm starting to consider it.
Oh, wow. I don't know. At points, Joe annoyed me more than what I like him. Especially the part in which it's always Kokonotsu, the one that corrects him and reminds him of how much of a fool he is.
I remember I think it was around like the end. I think it was episode 10, episode 11, when Kokonotsu, Hotaru, and Sai are just hiding in a box.
Probably episode 11.
Yeah, and then they're kind of just sitting around, and they see Yoshi just eating that like powdered candy, like the kind of Coke-sized powdered candy.
Yeah.
I found that funny because he just kept eating. He wouldn't stop.
They even made a gag of that on episode 5. Like, in which, hey, we carry bottled ramen, but I have never seen it in the store. Of course, because Joe eats it all.
I just find it funny. He just hoards everything. And then he's about to read Kokonotsu's manga.
All the time.
And then Kokonotsu just jumps out of the box. He's like, "What are you doing with my manga?"
Oh wow, yeah, I remember that part. But anyway, Joe seems to annoy me more than what I like him, and even to, just about the end of Dagashi Kashi, I thought to myself, if I think of Joe as the male equivalent of Hotaru, I can kind of pinpoint out why he annoys me so much. And also, one thing that is constantly mentioned about Yo that I didn't quite get, even when I finished watching Dagashi Kashi, is that he's famous. And I'm like, famous for what? Even through this whole episode...
famous for his candy shop. Because the candy shop wasn't, like, going out of business. He was still, like he was running it, it was going nice and well. And people still kept coming to the store.
I think it's the fact that, as obviously you mentioned, Joe, that he's famous for his candy shop, but I also think that potentially it could be from before. Like, it's kind of like if you are some sort of not pro wrestler, but we'll use that example because that's the first thing that came into my mind. If you are some like pro wrestler from days of old, people are gonna know you as a legend, and I think in this industry they know him as a legend, potentially.
Oh, you mean like he kind of had like a past where he was
like a past
big?
where he was like some sort of Dagashi pimp or something like that. We don't know.
Dagashi pimp.
Dagashi pimp. Wow.
He's just flashing those ring pops.
Wow. Well, they did establish that the Shikada Dagashi was established for over 8 generations. I think Joe is the 8th and Kokonotsu will be the 9th. Or did I got the other way around? Joe is the 9th and Kokonotsu will be the 10th. I really don't know. But anyway,
Well, the point is, like, Kokonotsu is like planned to be the next of kin.
Yeah, if Joe has his way, but apparently it won't. Anyway, let's go into the oddball of this group, Hotaru. What do you guys have to say about her?
May I speak about Hotaru first? Because I really want to get this off my chest.
Chest.
Oh, your chest, huh?
Chest.
No pun intended, I promise. I find her very annoying as a character. I don't know how to explain this. Her character design is fine. I have nothing against it. The one thing I do is that how she's used in this animation. I understand she is a very sexy character, but at the same time, I think her sexiness is overused. You know, we see her like panty shot. Like, really, did we need that? No. Those moments where she was eating this massive kind of like pink umaibo, it looked like a scene from a hentai.
Yes.
Also, same thing with the boob ice cream, how it exploded. It legit looked like another scene from a hentai, and that makes me very uncomfortable because usually I'm watching these things in public places, like on a train, on a bus, and when you see scenes like that, it's really like disturbing. I think it was too much for me, and I felt that this character didn't need to be over-sexualized in this sense. I would understand if it happened once, but it's kind of like a consistent theme throughout this anime, which is why I feel like she's a punching bag for like boob jokes and for like over-sexualization, and I think she doesn't need that to be a good character. I think, I don't know, it kind of tainted the character for me. I'm not saying she's a bad character, I'm just saying too much of that, not good for me.
It's how the show treats this character that you have an issue with. Mm-hmm. And trust me, I do as well. Joe?
Okay, so I kind of agree with Bish and like the whole points where it's like I don't think the sexiness was needed. They could have just kept their character design as it was and kind of just like not paid it too much mind. Like not like objectified her in some way. But here's the thing, I love characters with personalities like Hotaru. Like I love especially with like females, whereas you have like that really upbeat female that's doing like absolutely everything, like she's always smiling and like she like just doesn't give a single shit. Those are characters I love. It's like, yeah, I love characters with that personality, which is why like aside from like the sexiness, I love Hotaru. Like she's like she's probably one of my favorites out of the group.
As for Hotaru, basically Bish took the words right out of my mouth in regards to her objectification and how she's used as basically as the vector of the fan service of this show. But I do recognize the importance of Hotaru in the story. Like, she's the eccentric, she's the oddball. If Hotaru wasn't around, Dagashi Kashi would not have worked, like at all.
Yeah. She's like the candy enthusiast. She knows everything about it.
Yeah, but it's one thing to be a candy enthusiast, but the way that is portrayed as her, it makes sense because it's distressing. It's like, it shakes you to the core. Like, for instance, I've been mentioning that if the story didn't have a character like Hotaru, this Dagashi Kashi wouldn't have worked, like at all. It's already boring enough when her gags are overused. I don't like how they objectify her, but I recognize her value in the story. Her eyes are really weird. I instantly thought of Nagato from Naruto. Like, the way that her eyes are drawn is like, does this woman has a rinnegan that she can read onto the mind of others? I'm sorry, Naruto fans, if I mentioned the wrong power that the rinnegan has. But anyway, what I like about her was and I also like this about Saya, is how often she switched outfits. It's like, okay, so there's this particular outfit that she's always wearing that she's known of, and of course it's gothic Lolita, that's the theme. But throughout the episode, she has like a wardrobe of clothing, and they make very good use of that throughout the episodes. I like that about her. But on the rest, I usually like Hotaru when she was shut, when she had her mouth shut, and unfortunately that was only during the summer festival.
Right.
Let's see.
Saya next, or
yeah, it's Saya next.
Well,
I do want to talk about Saya.
You start, Joe.
Okay, like as much as I love Hotaru, as much as I love her personality, I'm gonna have to say Saya is my best girl of the show.
Oh yeah.
Because there's a lot of things to like about her. Like it's like I like her interaction with like Kokonotsu and like how they kind of not like they kind of like a past. Like they grew up together as children. They grew up loving candy, and like I kind of like how she like interacts the different scenarios, like with the ghost stories where she's really scared. Like Hotaru, like interacting with Kokonotsu, and the best part, her skill with games. Oh my god, that blew my mind, dude. When I started playing with Kendama, I was like, how are you doing this? Like, how are you so good at this? It's like she hasn't played this stuff besides Kendama. She hasn't played any of this stuff before. And
she has played Kendama because her...
No, that's what I said. Besides Kendama, she hasn't played anything else before.
Well, she has played, what was this card game that they were playing where there was lots of cards on the floor and then you had to flip over?
Well, I'm pretty sure that was her first time playing it.
It was her first time? But she was tremendously good at it.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, she didn't know how to play these games and she did spectacularly.
Mm-hmm. Bish?
Well, I have to agree with Joe here, and I know Kevin's gonna be listening, and he's gonna be like, "Well, man, no one agrees with me about Hotaru being best girl." But sorry, Kevin. What I like about Saya is that she's the girl next door. That's basically what she is, and that's one reason I like her as a character. She's very varied. Mainly because she's tsundere, and you kind of notice that there are times when she's angry, and there's times when she's soft and sweet on the inside.
I actually feel weird about calling her the tsundere because sometimes she kind of makes it like because the tsundere implies that she's kind of like she's trying to make it sound like she doesn't love him, and even though that happens like quite a few times, there are also times.
That's how tsundere are. They're hard on the outside and soft on the inside. So.
Oh, bitch, that's what I'm saying. Like I'm just saying like even though there are times where like she's like trying to deny her love for Kokonotsu, she's also kind of like making it obvious. So like I'm kind of like she's kind of like both, like kind of like a reverse to tsundere, but mostly to tsundere.
You've just defined as someone that's tsundere. Mm-hmm. That's exactly how they are.
Mm-hmm. Well, I thought the tsundere just implied that they denied love.
No, that's not it. It's more like they will deny love, but then there are moments where they show their love, and then they'll be like, oh no, I didn't mean that kind of stuff. You see that with Saya a lot, especially towards the beginning when she was in the cafe and they mentioned Kokonotsu. She's often like that.
Yeah, that makes more sense, especially in the doctor's part. Scene.
Especially in the doctor's part and the flashbacks and other kind of episodes where she has interactions with Kokonotsu, especially as you mentioned in the doctor's part when the hand she realized that they were holding hands and things like that. She just got embarrassed, and that tends to happen with tsundere characters a lot. Another thing is I really love her character design. I really, really do. Hairstyle is great. I like the bangs on the hairstyle. I like the signature clips that she has, because she had it when she was a child, and then obviously when she grew up and had longer hair, she still kept them. Yeah, I like that.
I also have to agree with Bish on that. She's probably, out of the jarring art design that this show has, I think I like Saya's the best. I also agree with Best Girl designation for Saya. Also, I want to mention something else that I like on girls. Cartilage earrings. Saya has them.
Oh yeah, those look great. I also need to mention she has the fang.
She has what?
She has the little like mini fang.
Oh, yeah, she has like a snaggletooth.
Yeah, this snaggletooth. Like I like that's like my weakness in characters.
You know who else has that? Her brother.
Her brother has the snaggletooth, but he also has shark teeth, like Ring from Free.
Oh, wait, Tyson, can I stop right there?
What?
This was going to be our only episode where we didn't mention Free.
You already mentioned Free in the beginning, so you have already lost.
Right. We already mentioned Free, dude.
I forgot about that. You could have just taken that out, Tyson, but because you said it, you mentioned Rin.
You know, can we just agree that there won't be an episode that we don't talk about Free?
That's just gonna be law now. We have to go and do that.
Dude, our podcast recently got a redesign, and our logo is a Nagi shroom. We are always gonna be
Well, yeah.
linked with free.
You know, free. Anyway, you were saying?
Okay, so she has a snaggle tooth, and I love her cartilage earrings, and I don't know. I have a tendency to, at least in romance, whether it's implied or not, I tend to root for the girl next door. I don't know. I can't bring myself to cheer for the outsider, at least when it comes to romance. There is one thing I want to mention about the tsundere aspect of Saya. I think after watching so much nisekoi and so many shows that have a tsundere character, where they just whack the main character out of spite, or even something that would reflect that she liking or nothing, I find that Saya, when she got her tsundere vibes, like not tsundere vibes, but like she was on her totally sun side of the tsundere, she didn't hit Kokonotsu like at all, and I find that like awfully refreshing. I don't know. I think because of that, I find her to be a good tsundere character, honestly. Just because she doesn't hit Kokonotsu when she has like her jealous vibes or anything.
I agree. I completely agree with that.
Also, Joe has already mentioned that she's very good with games. I have a little note here that she has exceptional luck. This was shown in episodes like episode 11, in which
with how she kept winning the cola gum.
the cola gum. But she has like this exceptional luck, and I don't know. I think that part was put in there to contrast Hotaru's awful luck. I don't know. Maybe right, maybe wrong. Alright, so let's talk about the pervert older brother, Toe.
Oh, I like him. Toe the bro. That's what he is.
Yeah, I can't hate him. There's
You
nothing...
can't hate him. He's just the bro character. He's
because
there.
he's also smart. Like, he isn't like just this dumb, mindless character that just like this is the comedic tool. Like, he actually does stuff. Especially in like one of the episodes when like Hotaru needs help, and then he's kind of like advising her like what to do and stuff.
Yeah, but that's not a defining part of his character, and that's what I found.
I know, I'm just like an example.
Yeah, but there's only like 2 instances in which he actively helps someone else, whether it's Kokonotsu or Hotaru. Like, it's not something that defines his character. Like, he's always seeking out to help others and whatnot. But I'm sorry.
You know what? The easiest way to describe him is that imagine Joe in anime form and you get Toe. That's just, when I saw him, I was like, oh, this guy is Joe, man. Yeah.
I don't know if
He has that bro vibe with him.
Are you saying I'm Toe?
Yeah, I'm calling you out. I'm saying, yeah, you kind of remind me of Toe.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I don't know if Joe has an older sister that would punch him whenever he got to pervert.
I mean, I have a younger sister that does the same thing.
Joe, to be honest, if I was there next to you, I would punch you, but for anything. Just randomly. I'd be like, hey, Joe, what's up? Bam.
Oh, wow.
Just because I can.
I don't know how I feel about Toe constantly wearing sunglasses. I don't know.
His sunglasses broke in one episode. I do remember that. I think it was in the...
Yeah. You only see his eyes like once, though. Pretty much it.
You see him several times. I have on my nose. Usually,
I wouldn't be surprised if his sunglasses were a part of his skin.
Wow!
No, I don't think they are, because he does take them off.
He never takes them off.
No, I wouldn't say so, because on that episode that when they were playing marbles, or the game that was similar to marbles, his sunglasses broke.
Oh yeah,
So
yeah, one of them.
It wouldn't be attached to his skin. Just myth that busting that. Just saying.
Also, he's like Shu in the part that he's indifferent to everything, except just being a pervert. I don't know why. I don't know if I like that part about him, to be honest.
Yeah, but you always need that balance.
I mentioned that he's kind of like this show's Shu. I take that back because he's nothing like Shu.
Really?
Aside, I don't because like Shu is kind of like he kind of smiles. He's just like an idiot. It's like I kind of liked Shu for what he was, but I didn't like his like overall. He was kind of really mediocre at best. But like with Toe, he's just awesome. Like it's like I'd want to be his friend.
Awesome. Now, let's just kind of breeze through a bit through this. Do you have ships on the show? Any character who would you ship?
To be honest, this isn't a show that I would ship anyone because there isn't much of a romance theme going on.
Yeah, there aren't many characters to actually ship.
I actually have one that was constantly like reminded on the show, and wow.
Why do I feel like I know what this is?
Yeah, same. But before you mentioned the ship, to be honest, like for me, this anime doesn't give you the opportunity to ship. First being is that the lack of characters to ship. You have 5 characters in this anime. It makes it very, very difficult to ship people. Second of all, there's only one set of characters that have a glimpse of some sort of romantic interest or relationship in. So the anime forces you into shipping. So that's why I think, for me, I'm not going to be shipping on this anime. Tyson?
No, but my case, I find that I find the possibility of shipping Saya and Hotaru.
I was thinking, I knew that was what you were gonna say.
I think it was exemplified on the there was this one preview. I don't know if you guys saw it. The episodes all the way to the last one, in which Hotaru starts saying scary stories to Saya, and Saya in character gets very scared, and I think Saya says, "Please hold me, Hotaru," and Hotaru was like, "This scared mode." Oh, Timon! Like, okay, I'm shipping this too. It may be a stupid reason, but it is my reason, damn it.
Damn it, Tyson.
Oh, Timon!
Damn it, Tyson.
Anyway, okay, so we don't have ships. We kind of already established least and favorite characters during the dissertation of the characters. Let's move on into audio-visual. Any comments on the animation or the audio side of things?
Audio-wise, it had weird choices for audio. Like I liked the intro and I liked the outro music. Like with me liking the intro music a little more than the outro. But like the choice, like the scene music felt really weird. I don't know how to describe it. Like the choice is kind of like not weird and like I don't know why they chose this. Is weird. Like it's just strange, straight up strange.
Yeah, I have to agree with that. For me, the music wasn't that appealing. It was very much like with a lot of slice of life anime. It's not something that I would go out and buy the soundtrack to because it wasn't really effective. It was just background music. It was there, and I agree with you, Joe, that sometimes there was odd choice for certain background music. I can't remember the instance of it, but I do agree with you on that. The only thing I would like to say and thing I actually enjoyed was the opening for this anime. That's the only thing in terms of music I like because it was so catchy and it had that saxophone and it was just like great because I'm a big fan of jazz and that kind of stuff.
Well,
so it was great.
I was a big fan of EDM. Like I really enjoyed the outro.
Oh, is it? I wasn't a fan of the outro. It was just like, oh, I just want to skip it because it was just.
And like after listening to it, I kind of like found myself humming it. I don't know why.
Hey, Calorie Queen.
Well, it's not even the lyrics. I just found myself humming the beats, like.
Now that we're talking about intro and outros, what do you think about the animation of those? Because it was incomplete. It was incomplete for the first 2 episodes, and then from the 3rd episode onwards were the actual thing.
Yeah, because that's kind of when they established like the relationship between Hotaru and Saya.
No. It was actually incomplete. If you watch the first OP, also the ending was incomplete.
Well, the ending for the first 2 episodes, like because I feel like the big relationship established between like Hotaru and at that point Master Saya, I think. It's like that's when they kind of like put it in because you can't really like throw in that outro without establishing that relationship first, in my opinion.
I have a guess regarding that, and I'm gonna take it into real life because Feel is a very small studio. They on their website they list that they have 30 employees. I don't know if that counts the managerial staff or so, but if anything, Feel is the kind of studio that has to outsource a lot of their work. I don't know if the OP and the ED was done in-house, but in the case that they outsourced that, I think they were waiting until that sequence was done before they put it in. And apparently it's a Feel thing, because it also happened in Oregairu Season 2. Apparently this is a Feel thing. But it was really jarring that I can understand the different OP in the first episode, but on the second episode, even if you watch all the way through, there were some elements from the from what would be the final OP, which makes me think that it was done in-house, but there were still scenes that weren't done. I'm like, oh my god, it was really jarring to watch, to be honest. I haven't seen an anime like that before, because the first OP was like, okay, they're silhouettes from the mid cards, just being panned slowly through the screen and switching like every so often. And even the final frame that you see is just key art from the promotion, and I'm like, Feel, what are you doing here? Then I started to research, and I started to see people like, oh, this is a Feel thing. They usually do that before they get the actual final OP and the ED.
All right.
Although I did like the ED, like the how it's themed after Alice in Wonderland.
I know, it was so adorable. And then you see like Hotaru as Cheshire, and then you see Saya as Alice.
Hotaru is many things on that ED. She's the queen. She's the Cheshire cat. She's the rabbit. Yeah. She's like the flowers. She's pretty much everything on that. And the only consistent appearance is Saya as Alice. I didn't see the relation between their current experience with the story of Dagashi Kashi, and they kind of
I think that's just good fun.
I think so, or if anything, they want to link Hotaru's eccentric personality into the ED, which, if I think of it that way, it makes sense. But I don't see the direct link of where I can.
May I interject there? I think maybe this might be a stretch, but if you've ever read the book Alice in Wonderland, she often eats a lot of things or drinks some certain things that give her abilities, like increase in size and things like that. So it might be a link in that, but saying that might be a very stretched link, and I don't think many people would get that link if it was indeed what they were going for.
Well, because I noticed it when we saw like all the Hotaru flowers, because like she was like smaller than the flowers, so I'm like, oh, she drank like the drink that made her small.
Probably so, really. I kind of have to agree with Joe here that the Alice in Wonderland link, it was probably done for fun, or if anything, and I may be stretched here, is that they want to link Hotaru's eccentric personality with something, and probably Alice in Wonderland was the best fit.
What do you guys think of the voice acting?
As I mentioned before, I think certain characters in English were better voiced. They were better suited to the characters. Although I did have an issue with more so the script. That was, as I was saying, yeah.
Bish, you're getting arrested. You're totally getting arrested.
Do you know why I'm getting arrested? Because I was about to talk shit about Funimation, and they sent the pigs against me.
No, dude, if you saw my earlier message, I told you I'd send the FBI down your path.
Oh, damn! So. They were fast.
Yeah, dude, I have a connection.
So I'm just gonna get swatted mid.
I told you if you were gonna post more Hotaru pics in the Skype chat, I was gonna send the FBI down your way because of how much you're giving me cancer.
Oh, Bish, before you continue, it's just that I didn't manage to make a comment on the soundtrack, on the musical score. I find myself disagreeing with you both because, for some reason, I find it strangely fitting.
No, I didn't say it was strange as like I said before. I didn't say strange as in like why did they decide to choose this. I said strange as in like the music was literally strange. I didn't say anything about how it fit or not. Like if it comes to that, like I think it actually does fit. It's just weird music.
For me, it sounded like real countryside music for me. And again, this is not something that I would buy a soundtrack for, but I found myself like, okay, so the themes from the countryside when Hotaru is not present, they were very pleasant to listen to, possibly because it has a high usage of flutes, and I find that instrument pleasing to listen to. It's probably part of the reason why I was also drawn to Haruchika, but when Hotaru starts to show, is when her eccentric personality starts to show in the score as well. Some of the tunes sounded like that. And I'm like, okay, this is eccentric music as well. So I find the link between music and the setting here rather interesting. It's not something that I love to death, but it's a bit more than saying it does the job. So in a way, it's a kind of what would you call it? Compliment in a way. Sorry to mess up your.
Oh no, it's fine.
Continue with the voice acting.
Yeah, with the voice acting, I didn't really have an issue with the voice acting themselves. I just have an issue with more so the script. The script in English just made no sense at times, as you mentioned. Certain segments just didn't work well together, certain introductions of certain things, and also the whole Kansai accent thing that really, really annoyed me, as well as the subtitling. And I watched this on Daisuki, so they use all the stuff from Funimation. Yeah, it was on Daisuki.
No way.
Because I was worried that I wasn't going to be able to watch the show, because by that time Funimation Now didn't exist. So I was really, really worried that I wasn't going to be able to watch this. But obviously they took all the kind of subtitling from Funimation. Yeah, so it was very... certain bits, as I mentioned, like the episode with the shit candy. That was just poorly done, I'll be honest with you. And that, in a way, that's also my gripes and grumbles out of the way. But that was something in terms of the voice acting. It wasn't bad, but at the same time, I think the English was better.
Joe?
The voice acting is pretty good. Like, it wasn't like... It isn't something... I think besides Hotaru, I wouldn't say it's something that I'd like... Besides Hotaru, I don't say there's much that stands out. But, because, like I said, I really like characters or like females in general with like that huge upbeat personality. And like I feel like her voice really matched that and made it so much better, which is why I really like her voice. Everyone else is like, it was good, but it wasn't like something that stands out like so much.
I think the only comment I have on the voice acting is that it's fitting. Like, for instance, the voice actor for Toe really came as indifferent. Kokonotsu came across as endearing, pissed off. Like, the voice actor did a good job. Hotaru.
Yeah, like, besides what I said, like, the voices were still good. Like, they all fit the characters well, and, like, I think the voice actors deserve a pat on the back.
So that's pretty much the major comment I had to make on voice acting. It fits. Like, I couldn't see these characters being voiced by someone else, like, at all. Alright, so we don't really have to talk about sound design. Let's talk about animation itself.
Studio Field did a really good job with the animation, in my opinion. Like, it looks very beautiful.
Bish, any thoughts?
Oh, I'm sorry. There's actually I need to point this out.
Okay.
Did you notice in, like, at least for the designs for Hotaru and Saya, that, like, if you look in their hair, they kind of have like bubbles?
Bubbles.
I don't know how to describe it, but like they kind of like if you look at the character designs, like how they move around the show, they kind of have like this shining, like it's supposed to be the light effect on their hair that kind of looks like little bubbles. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's something I liked. It was a nice touch.
It's pretty much pressing on making all characters, but
and the eyes. Oh, the eyes were definitely something that stood out, but I kind of liked it actually. It was very funny to see.
Yeah, I don't really agree with that, but let's hear what Bish had to say.
The animation style, I don't know what to think of it, to be honest. It's quite nice. It's very colorful. I enjoyed that because we tend not to see that in anime. As you mentioned, there's also the backgrounds. Some of the backgrounds are incredible, but I'm not sure if they were done by Studio Feel or if they were outsourced. But nevertheless, those backgrounds were just beautiful, especially the beach ones, and even the background where the store is set, it's just quite peaceful, and I like that. But other than that, I don't know anything else to say on the animation style. Other than this, certain animations were just too aggressive, especially the hentai ones, let's say. Especially those ones.
The one who got assigned the hentai cuts. Okay, so in the animation and art style, I'm not sure I agree with the whole it looks great. I mean, it's not awful. It's something watchable, but
I mean, because I really like cell shaded designs. Like it's kind of like a me thing.
okay, fair enough.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's not awful. Like it's watchable. This isn't the ugliest anime that I've seen, nor I'm trying to call it so. But I have seen so much better stuff, and even Studio Field's ex-employer, which Studio Field is mostly made of ex-Pierrot staff. Studio Pierrot, known for making Naruto, for instance. I have seen better animation work from them than what I've seen in 12 episodes with Studio Field, and probably the better looking parts of Dagashi Kashi were probably outsourced. Most likely, although these are a lot of smaller studios, which reputations I really don't know. I even went as far as to make a note saying is Studio Field when Studio Field was founded, was it mostly funded by in-betweeners of Studio Pierrot? And it may sound like an insult, which because the natural progression of things is that in-betweeners graduate into key animation. But I don't know, it didn't feel as smooth and as pleasable to watch as even some of Studio Pierrot's previous work, because I'm pretty sure that most of the guys that work at Studio Field today probably work on the first Naruto, and I mean that looked better than Dagashi Kashi, to be honest.
Fair enough.
Okay, so Bishop already mentioned that, but Joe, what are your gripes and grumbles of the show, if you have any?
I only have one major gripe and grumble. It's the end of the show. The show, in my opinion, did not have any closure. Because I feel like around the end, like at the end, like we're still undecided. It's like we're kind of like, it's like he still hasn't decided if he wants to be a manga artist or if he wants to run the shop. And they made it such a big deal. I thought they were gonna like, oh, is the end of the show gonna be like the big choice? Like, is it gonna end like this? But no, it ends with him going on a trip with Hotaru. I just really did not like that. It was very bad. Like you should, like if you're gonna build something up like that, you have to give it closure. Like you can't just like leave it hanging for like the viewers to decide.
They were probably setting the framework for a second season if one gets greenlit. Bish, for the benefit of the audience, would you mind restating what were your gripes and grumbles about Dagashi Kashi?
Well, my gripes and grumbles, one of them being the script in English was, and obviously subtitling wasn't that good, but that's not really a fault of the animation itself. That's more a fault of the licensors and things like that, and the people that deal with that, Funimation, if you're listening. Another kind of gripe and grumble was the over-sexualization of Hotaru. That's one thing, because, you know, we don't really need scenes that look like they've come straight out of a hentai, to be honest, but that's just for me.
As for gripes and grumbles, I felt that the story moved at a slow pace. Like, I really don't know how to put it, and people would probably contest me on this because it just blazed through manga episodes, but primarily as an anime watcher, I think that it flowed very slowly, probably more slowly than what is appropriate for this kind of setting and type of show. So that's one gripe. I don't know if this qualifies as a gripe, but more of an annoyance. It's mostly all the product placement for stuff that I can't buy. So, if anything, I'm faced with this situation.
Sorry, Tyson. You mentioned for stuff that you can't buy, but you know, If you go to www.japancrate.com and type in kunai at checkout, you save yourself $3.
Oh my god.
Nice tie-in. Nice segue. Nice segue.
But like, I don't want to. I don't want to say that's a gripe because, first of all, it was originally aired in Japan, and like, it's convenient enough that we have it brought over here in English. So like, it's kind of like it's still a Japanese animation meant for Japanese viewers.
Yeah, but it's but I found myself but like, for instance, I cannot just walk into the local supermarket and just buy Japanese candy. So
yeah, but like it's the same time that they can't make that argument as in like an American viewer.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but so that's why I put it in gripes, but it's more of an annoyance for me because I see all this candy that just makes me, oh, I want to taste it, but hey, I live in America, so I cannot taste it. I already fan service, but I'm an open book in regards to that. I mentioned this briefly when I was making my dissertation in the story, but I'm really gripey about how this story is not cohesive at all. Like, I think that the stories being self-contained in Dagashi Kashi actually does the show a disservice. It feels like they were planning for a long-running show, but had only the budget for 12 episodes. That's what it felt to me, honestly. With the gripes out of the way, now, second season, would you recommend it, or would you want one? Joe?
For its own good, I think it does need a second season because, like I said, my biggest gripe and like probably my biggest con of the show, it did not end with closure. You can't just put a show off like that unless you're planning a second season.
Bish?
I completely disagree with you, Joe. I think, to be honest, this is an anime where I would not want to see a second season because it's going to be the same. It's just going to be the same. We're going to see the same sort of explanations of maybe new sweets and things like that. I understand that there is a story, but you're going to have to change the animation. Well, you're going to have to change the structure of this anime.
I mean, you
to
should
kind
go
of
for
fit
an
with
anime
that.
original.
Potentially, they could do that, but I think at the same time, it's going to be more of the same to have a second season. And to be honest, I didn't really enjoy this anime as much to see a second season. I think personally,
then at the very least, one OVA.
Potentially, they would do OVAs because this is very, very popular animation. So they are going to do that. It just makes sense for them to do that. I think also sometimes the animation is there to promote the manga. And some sort of sudden end where there is no sort of closure is potentially to get you to buy the manga and read it.
Potentially, because in a way that's anime's main focus, to sell the manga. But if anything, that's probably an issue of the product planning that shows the wrong spot to finish the series. But again, it could be an instance of like what I mentioned. They were planning Dagashi Kashi for a long-running series, but had the budget only to fund 12 episodes. As for me, if I want or for I will recommend the show, no and no. When you look at Dagashi Kashi as a whole, one has to come to the conclusion that it was mediocre. It isn't bad, but it's definitely not good. If I want a fix of slice of life done better, there are certainly better examples of how to do a slice of life better than Dagashi Kashi. I would probably recommend on other shows rather than Dagashi Kashi if you want a slice of life fix. I mean, it's the kind of anime that, sure, you're bored if you have nothing to do, then sure, watch it, but don't go out of your way to watch it because it's nothing spectacular.
I'd give it I'd give it a 7 because like it has like a lot of flaws, but like it's still a feel good anime, and like for that I'd say like, you know, for like if you check it out, maybe watch a few episodes, and I hope the show makes you feel a little good. Like if somebody's like feeling down, it's like this is like the kind of show I'd show somebody if they were feeling down. It's like, you want to have a good time, let's watch the Dagashi Kashi, let's have a good laugh or two, and then let's have a drink and let's head out.
I would not recommend this to anyone. I really wouldn't want people to waste their time watching this anime. That's so harsh, I know, but I think for me, I lost interest past episode 5. Like, I genuinely didn't want to watch any more of this anime than I had to. Do you know what I mean? And that's also why I wouldn't kind of suggest a season 2. I think if it's a great anime if you want to switch off your brain, maybe do some exercise or something while watching it, or doing a meaningless task. Yeah, I think it would be great in that sense, but would I recommend it to people? No.
Am I like the only one who enjoyed binging the entire show from start to finish?
Potentially,
yes. I found it to be a chore, and I don't like my anime to be like that. I think also, as where I would rate it, I would give it a solid 6. Maybe 6 is a bit too nice, but that's where I stand.
Probably a 5 on my scale. And yeah, I'm pretty much a carbon copy of what Bish said, really. If anything, the only addition that I found it mediocre. That's all. So with that out of the way, we have come to the end of our first simulcast special on Get a Life Podcast Kunai. Guys, if you enjoy this, let us know. Let us know your opinions on this kind of episode on Twitter at GALPKunai or by email at galp.pea@gmail.com. Send us your opinions. Would you want this to continue? Should we do something else? Let us know. Be sure to follow the podcast account, or if you want to follow us and our personal accounts, my Twitter handle is at Kanae, that's KANAYE_.
Mine is at KiboGamer, KIBOUGAMER. I'll probably talk about a lot of Final Fantasy XIV and Danganronpa, so...
My actual Twitter page is at Get a Life Podcast, one word.
So yeah, guys, the simulcast special is primed to return in the summer, where we selected a show from the spring season, but we still don't know what that show is about, so we're not gonna announce it formally, but expect one of these episodes in the summer. Again, if you have opinions on this, let us know on Twitter or by email mentioned previously. But stick around, there's a segment of Japan Crate in which we taste different candy from Dagashi Kashi, so stay tuned.
Hey guys, welcome to this special kind of sponsored segment for Japan Crate. Japan Crate is the thingy, is a service. That's a thingy.
Yeah. The thingy?
It's a thingy. That's how they officially say it on their website. So they're like, Japan Crate, the thing, or the thingy. Japan Crate is a service, a subscription service, where you get a box of Japanese candy every month for about $30, and that's for the premium. That's for the premium service. There's also different services. There's the normal one, and then there's the mini box. I think the mini box is about $12. And anyway, no one really gives a no one really cares about the mini box.
Oh, we don't want to say that, Fish.
No one cares about the mini box because, you know, what you're going to get in the mini box. You're going to get the same stuff as you would in the premium box, but a lot less of it. And I know you guys love candy, so do me a favor, go through the premium box. And you know what? If you decide to do that, enter coupon code KUNAI at checkout and you save yourself $3. So then you'll be paying $27. That's badass.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
It's a pretty good offer.
It is. It's an amazing offer. And I'm not saying this because they've given us candy. It's they were going to give us candy anyway. I told
let's
them,
be honest. Who wouldn't want to get candy every single month?
Exactly.
Candy
who
you'll
wouldn't
probably
wanna get
never
candy?
see again in your life.
Exactly. And it's Japanese candy, so it's instantly better. They have more sugar in it. You know, I know you American guys love your sugar and your diabetes, so that's extra sugar for you guys. And they're flavors that you wouldn't have tried before. So.
Guys, this is how we sound more weeaboo than we usually are. To be honest.
No, this guy's stabbing at me. Do you see these arms? Do you see any meat
but let's
on
be
these
honest,
arms?
we have to sound weeaboo. We're promoting a company called Japan Crate. So, let's be honest here. They were going to send us candy anyway. But I told them, I said, hey, is it okay if you give us a coupon code? So we're not making any money from this. It is technically sponsored. We're just promoting them because, you know, they were kind enough
cool
to give us the
guys.
candy. Yeah, they're amazing people. Baker, if you're listening, shout out to you, man. Because if it wasn't for him, he wouldn't have sent us the candy. And the candy that they've sent us isn't actually from a box. This is actually special candy that they've seen. They've seen Dagashi Kashi, and they've picked out some Dagashi for us. Is it called Dagashi?
Dagashi,
Dagashi,
yes.
yeah.
They've given us some Dagashi for us to try out, and they are from the show, I believe, from episode 1 and 2, and obviously throughout the other episodes
They
as
appear in
well.
a lot of episodes,
They do.
especially Umaibo.
Exactly. So we have the Umaibo with us. Everyone's got different flavors. I believe me and Tyson have the same flavors. We got gyutan, which is cow tongue, and we have corn potage, which I think from what I can see here is like corn soup. I don't know how that's going to taste. Considering that Umaibo is corn, I'm imagining it's going to be plain tasting.
I actually have different flavors for mine.
Yeah,
I have,
Joe has more premium flavors because, you know,
Yeah.
apparently they saw his name and they're like, oh, this is Joe Addo. We have to give him like the best flavors. And me and Tyson get like the worst ones, but that's fine.
Exactly.
Joe, what do you have?
I got teriyaki, and I think it's just cheese.
Yeah, so Joe has teriyaki burger and cheese. I don't know what the hell a teriyaki burger is. It sounds like something McDonald's would have invented to appeal to to Japanese people somehow.
Well, to be honest, to be fair, I think the Japanese McDonald's is probably better than whatever the hell we have in America.
To be honest, yeah.
Not
Japanese
quite.
McDonald's, they have potato chips or fries. Sorry, they have fries with chocolate. It's
Oh
so
my
weird, but
God.
apparently it's amazing. Anyway, we're not talking about McDonald's. We're talking about Japan Crate and what they've given us, and also they've given us the candy whistles. So everyone's got a different amount. Everyone's got a different amount. Yeah. So
Yeah, I got 3.
I got
Joe has 3.
I got 3 as well.
Tyson has 3. I have 8. And a toy. So I'm going to be talking about the toy as well. Because you guys are worth it.
Fun fact, the one that Bish has is the one that was covered on the show. That particular
Although
one.
it is the same brand. Just to make sure.
Yeah,
they
they're
sell
all
it in-
similar in some way. It's just different brands.
No, they're the same brand. They're the same brand.
Are they?
They are the same brand indeed.
Oh, it's just packaging then.
It's just the packaging is different because they sell them in 1, single, 3, and for the big boys, 8.
Oh,
Oh,
and
yeah.
we
Comes
also
with the toy.
got something called monster stamps.
We have monster stamps, which is, I think, it's not in the show,
Yeah, I haven't seen in the show.
but it's still fun anyway. So let's go through this. What should we try first, lads? Should we try the
The Umaibo. Umaibo, please.
Okay, Tyson, which one are you going to try?
I'm gonna try
So-
the corn potage first because.
Okay, then
to-
I'm going to try the gyutan.
Okay, so
All right, then I'll try the teriyaki burger. Because I'm
Oh, man. Oh, okay. This is
Man,
so
man.
difficult to open.
man, this
These things
wrapping,
are...
this wrapping,
God.
damn it.
You need to be the Hulk to open these things.
Oh, never mind. I just split it down.
Oh my-
I just split it towards the middle, and I already
I
got mine
just
open.
opened it like that. So
No,
it
wait.
is... It smells quite nice, actually, to be
Yeah,
honest.
this
It's-
smells really good.
And I have the gyutan version. It's basically like a massive Cheeto with a hole in the middle.
God.
That's the only way I can describe this. So should we just go in 3, 2, 1 and take a bite out of it?
I think my teriyaki broke a bit in transit because it's like crumbling. It's
No,
like
to
it's
be honest, I don't
crumbling
think
apart.
there's no way it could have broken in transit. They gave us massive boxes.
Yeah,
I think it's just
filled with
packaging them.
Yes.
for 4 things. So there's no way it broke in transit unless UPS were just doing something wrong with it. Anyway, let's take a bite. 1, 2, 3.
3, 2, okay. 3, 2, 1, go.
It's gonna start to sound like an ASMR show because you know it's just us eating with the microphones. But I don't know what to think,
Oh my god, this is beautiful.
Joe. Because you started that, I'll let you start first. And what's your opinions? What's the texture like, and what's the taste?
It's like, so it's kind of like they're kind of like these like corn like sticks. I don't know how to describe them. It's like it has like this. It's very like it reminds me of teriyaki. Like the taste is like sweet. It kind of has that like it kind of blends together to make this sweet like teriyaki is usually sweet, very delicious, very like. What'd you say? Would you say sour, sweet, sour? Yeah, like kind of like that. It's pretty good.
Tyson, what do you think? You don't look impressed.
So I think the best description that I can make of this is trying to compare it to something I already know. So
Okay.
in my case, at least in Puerto Rico, there's a brand of potato chips being sold here that is called Fungems. They are basically this little onion ring shape
Oh yeah.
chips that they have a sort of taste like it's really salty and it has like sprinkled onion taste on it. I can describe the texture similar to that, but
Okay.
when I bite into the umaibo, I don't feel the flavor until like 2 seconds later, in which then I feel like I'm eating like a cob. I'm eating basically a cob.
So it's like going and eating a corn on the cob, basically.
Exactly.
From what I understand.
Exactly.
For me, it's quite satisfying, this umaibo. I had gitan flavor, which is cow tongue. I thought it was going to taste disgusting because I've had cow tongue before and it's not the best thing in the world, but this has like a slight spice to it, which is quite nice. The texture is very simple texture, kind of like your puffed corn snacks.
Yeah, it's a
if
very
you were to eat
like
Cheetos
mine is
or...
like puffed corn. Like,
Yeah, I
like
think
that.
everyone's is because it starts off the same. But mine, more so, I think, I don't know how to explain it. If you're from the UK and you've had something called Munch to Munch, it tastes like the roast beef flavor or the corned beef flavor. I can't remember what flavor. It tastes like the beef flavor of that. It has this kind of spice to it, which is quite beautiful, actually. I don't know. Would I eat another one of these? I don't think I would eat too many of these ones because it needs some sort of sweetness. You know what I mean? Like, I'll be eating one of these and then go for some more candy afterwards.
So on a scale of from 1 to 10 umaibos, what would you rate it?
This cow tongue flavor, I would say maybe a 7. So that was quite good, but it wasn't something that I would eat daily. I think I would be sick of it quite quickly.
I would also go with a 7 for the corn potage one. And honestly, listening from Bishop's description, since we got the same flavors of umaibo, I'm kind of lenient on trying this one. I really don't like cow tongue. I don't like the idea of cow tongue, so I'll give my teriyaki one like a solid 8. Like it has a couple drawbacks, but it doesn't take away too much from the taste.
Should we try the next umaibo? Or
yes, let's get the umaibo over with.
Okay, Joe.
Do you want to get the umaibo first out of the way? I thought we were.
You know why? I think I know why. Because Joe wants to mess around with the whistles.
I think he already did.
Save the whistles to last.
I think he already did.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
The lovely thing about... Wow, this actually does smell like corn on the cob. This is amazing.
Look at this.
Whoa. Yeah, I think that's your classic cheese flavor, Joe.
Oh my god.
It's gonna make your hands stink.
I'm like getting pictures of everything I open.
I'm only getting pictures. I'm only getting pictures of the wrapping, honestly.
How the hell did they make this smell exactly like
I'm really enjoying this
thing? Tyson, why are you eating it straight away? We haven't said 3, 2, 1.
I guess we're going in now.
Well, yeah, Tyson's already gone in. Oh. Tyson's tagged out.
I cannot eat this. I'm sorry. I cannot eat this.
Fair enough. This one, the one I'm eating now, is a corn potage. It smells like corn on the cob. But when I eat it, I get a slight flavor of corn in a can. You know, the ones that you like sweet corn in the can, like Green Giant. But then the aftertaste is quite weird. The aftertaste is kind of like a vegetable pizza, which is very odd. I don't know why it has that odd aftertaste. But I prefer this one over the cow tongue, to be honest.
Mine was like it was basically a giant cheese noodle. Yeah, like it had like a light cheese. Like it was like light and sweet cheese. I don't know how to describe it. Like what's the name of the
comparing
flavor?
that to something like a Cheeto.
It's much better.
Much better.
Yeah.
Okay.
But like it's not labeled, so I can't tell what the flavor is. But like it reminds me of like light cheese, and like it's like a very thick very thick cheese noodle, basically.
And Tyson, your opinions?
All right, since this is an audio podcast, and like the guys are seeing me eating the cow tongue, and Bish aptly replied that I tagged out, and basically yes, I don't like this flavor. I basically took a bite of it, and I was so disgusted by the aftertaste that I just had to spit it out in the trash can near me. I can't taste this. I don't like it.
Hotaru would be disappointed in you.
Well, Hotaru doesn't eat Hotaru didn't eat this kind of umaibo, so I'm good. I'm still good.
Well, to be honest, people eat umaibo in very different ways. Like, some people eat it just standard. This is actually very cheap. It's like 20 cents. Like, if you were to buy them in the shops, like in Japan, it would roughly cost about 20 cents, 10 cents, depending on which flavor. I think... And some people eat them over rice, so they crush them and they sprinkle them over rice, and some people grill them, as we saw them in
They actually
Dagashi
talked
Kashi.
about that in the episode, with like how they mix, like you mix dagashi with, like, for example, as far as eating rice, and like there are ways you can mix dagashi with your food.
Oh, yes.
I think the corn potage one would work really well with rice.
Yeah, this would work very well. I think.
I don't know, Joe, because yours one's cheese. Would you really eat like Cheetos? Would you really crush up something like Cheetos and put them over rice? I wouldn't do that.
Yes.
That sounds like a crime.
You know what? I break crimes for a living.
Whoa, Joe. Which one should we try next?
He's basically continuing the joke of the Phoenix Wright avatar that he had.
Damn it.
Sure, Baku.
Yeah, I'm Phoenix Wright IRL. Like, yeah, there's nothing I follow. I always go beyond the boundaries.
So, guys, next. What the hell?
What the hell?
What the hell?
Have you guys
No,
not?
I know what you said. I'm like, that just sounded horrible.
Well, I didn't know, because... So the next one we have here is not in Dagashi Kashi, but they sent it to us anyway, because, they're pretty awesome guys over at Japan Crave. They sent us these monster stamps. Now, how they work is you lick them, kind of like an Oreo, and then you get a piece of paper, and you stamp it on the piece of paper, and the die should transfer to the paper like a stamp. Which is quite ingenious, so we'll try it. It's like a chalk candy.
Wait, I need to put this on paper. I got a piece of paper. Give me a sec.
I don't have paper. I don't have paper at hand, but I do have like a folder. I don't know if that will work.
Well, we can try, Tyson. You can always try.
Okay.
So I've done it. It works. If you guys can see, it's
my God.
I've done it on a tissue because I don't actually have any paper nearby because I'm so ghetto. But it does work. So Joe has the whole why they call them monster stamps is because they're kind of like Halloween themed, and you have different monsters on them. So mine has a witch. Tyson's one is a pumpkin, which isn't a monster. Anyone in Japan thinks that jack-o'-lanterns are actually scary. You should really be ashamed of them. And Joe's one was a ghost, but. All the fun aside, let's actually eat these because they are candy.
All the stamps are candy.
Oh, the whole thing is a candy. I thought the only lickable part. I thought the lickable part was only the.
No.
All right then.
Maybe not. Maybe what if we die because of this?
Well, Dagashi is all about being creative with the presentation of the product. So
being
this is
creative
very
with how
hard
we
to
die.
eat.
They are very difficult to eat. I assume that you kind of lick them.
this
Like
seems like a candy. Like it's meant for the long run. And
Oh, I got another.
Eventually.
I have another one.
you got a pumpkin. Everyone's got different ones.
Yeah, I've got a ghost and a pumpkin.
They're different flavors. I think it's like a two-tone flavor. So the handle of the stamp is obviously your standard cola, and then depending on what flavor you got your purple for grape, you got your pink strawberry, and you got apple as well.
Aww.
And they do change. I didn't get any apple ones. I got 2 strawberry and 2 grape. So
I got a little grape one.
With a little pumpkin.
And to describe the texture of this, imagine if you were eating some sort of tablet candy. This is basically it.
yeah, it's very chalky.
But
I need a picture of every single thing we do.
I'm not even going to attempt to eat this. Not eat, but chew. I'm just gonna let it.
They're very hard. They're very hard to chew.
I'm just gonna let it simmer in my saliva, and then it'll eventually come to the point in which it's enough that I can chew it. Let's see.
To be honest, with this candy, I think the main appeal of it is for children. And it's more of like a toy thing, like something to play with as you're eating it, as opposed to just something you pop in your mouth like popcorn. I don't think it's intended for that. I think it's more for the fun aspect of this candy.
Well, again, Dagashi is all about different ways of eating it. Remember that Dagashi being inexpensive is usually fitted for budgets of children. Like they're allowing, say, like they got 100 yen, and just to name an example, and they want to buy a lot of candy, they can go into the Dagashi shop and buy a lot with those 100 yen. just to say example. Let's see.
And now, speaking of fun candy...
Wait, I need to finish my thing.
No, Joe, we don't wait for anyone. We still have an episode to record. Damn it. This one's going to be very difficult for me to open because... Oh, actually, no. I say this. I thought it was like some next blister packaging, but there's actually a bit at the bottom that says, pull here. So I'm going to pull it.
No, but in the Flare Ramonade, what you have to do is pop the thing, actually.
Yeah, you can't do that on this one.
Oh, you
because
can't?
it would actually break the... No, I can't do that on my one.
Oh, okay.
Because mine's the 8-pack. So before we try out the Fue Ramune, it's basically what it tastes like is, before we actually eat it, because I've tasted this before, it tastes like ramune, like the drink ramune. So it has like a lemonade type flavor.
Ramune is basically lemonade. It's like the Japanese interpretation of.
They actually made a joke about it, where like before it was created, like the reason Ramune was created was because somebody misheard.
I think that was episode 11 that they were explaining how the Ramune. Let's see, it was episode 11. Yes, it was episode 11. It was.
They're talking about how like it's like there was a Japanese a Japanese leader, I think. The clan leader, I can't remember. Like he was talking with an American, and like they were negotiating like opening the
borders of Japan
to the world. Yeah. And then he tried the lemonade that American offer, and he's like, this ramen is amazing. He's like, lemonade, lemonade.
Did you manage to open your Fue Ramonade yet, Bish?
I've opened it. But I've opened the toy as well. For some reason, the last toy I had was a toy car, which is pretty badass. But this time, I got this. Like, what the fuck is this? It's a camper van, and it does nothing. You put it on your desk.
It looks like a hippo from my side of things.
How the fuck does that look? How can it have the wheels? How many hippos have you seen that have wheels?
The legs look like the tires look like legs.
Actually, no, I'm wrong. This is a garbage truck.
Wait, what?
This is a garbage truck.
Is that
because there are indentations on it. You can't like look. If you look closely, you can see indentations on it.
Is that a message to us that Japan Crave is saying that?
I think so. Japan Crave think we're garbage.
Is Japan Crave saying that we're trash?
No, do you know what I think it is? I think it's because I'm a big fan of Nico, and they might have heard the other episodes, and they're like, "Bish, Nico is this. This is where she deserves to be, in the trash."
What I'm gonna do after I finish filming this episode, I'm gonna throw myself into a trash can because I deserve to be inside a trash can.
Man. Yeah, we're all trash. Like we gotta go back to where we came from.
Especially me, because I'm a big fan of Nico. So we all got our Fue Ramen. Yeah. Did you guys open yours yet?
Mine's open. Let's go now.
Okay. So how are you supposed to do it? Okay, Joe's found out how to do it. You just put it in your mouth and you blow. That's what she said. But
please don't blow it too close into the microphone. That's gonna be a bitch to edit.
Oh, okay. Sorry, Tozen. Should we do the Dagashi Kashi intro with these whistles? Oh shit! No. The only problem is with this is that if you break it in half, you can't use it anymore.
That's why we got multiple ones. And I thought that I couldn't get the thing to whistle, but apparently I can.
It's pretty easy.
All I know is that I need to bite between my teeth and just blow through it, and you should be able to.
The only problem is if you get your teeth with the seam of the Fue Ramune, it will just crack through. That's the only problem with it. Because it's actually two pieces stuck together.
Yeah, and I just cracked mine. I will have to open another Fue Ramune to actually whistle with it. I'm just gonna eat mine there.
But it's something really. It's so fun.
Yeah,
I don't know.
It tastes really good too.
It's really of course, because it has the ramune flavoring.
Yeah,
it's really good.
You can get different flavors. Different flavors? Yeah, you can get different flavors of these. You can get different flavors of these. I know that I've gone to Japan Center which is the local Japanese supermarket, and I found flavors where, grape flavor, melon flavor. So there's more than just the ramen flavor.
You know what I'm doing? Like as soon as I get money, I'm importing. I'm going on Amazon and importing a ton of Umaibo.
You know what you should do? You should use the kunai code. So go to japancrate.com.
You know what? You're right.
Yeah, you should do that.
You should do that.
Type in kunai at checkout, and you save yourself $3, and that's a lot. Think about it. You get shit tons of stuff. Let me just go through what you get in the past crates. Yeah. You get shit tons. You get those candies, the ones that you add water to and you make gummy candies from. You get that. You get different types of biscuits or cookies, as Americans call them. You get a premium drink as well. And this is obviously with the premium crate. So you get tons and tons and tons of candy for $30, which to be honest, these things are very expensive to import anyway. So if you were to go to your local Asian supermarket, they would be very, very expensive to buy. And you would be saving yourself some money by doing it this way. And you don't know what you're getting sometimes. That's the beauty of it, because you're trying new things every time.
Is that drink ramune? Is that drink ramune the one that
they've had ramenes in previous ones before? They've also had the foie ramune as well, and umaibos. They always have umaibos in these boxes. That's something I've noticed.
Yeah, umaibo is pretty easy to import, so I suppose
very easy.
This also looks pretty popular.
It is really popular, just because there's so many different flavors. There's like yakitori flavor, which is like grilled meat flavorings, things like that. Anyway, I think that's it.
I'm so sad. All my I was so excited for this, and now it's all gone.
Yeah, but the thing is, Joe, you can do yourself a service and go to japancrate.com.
Right.
And I don't know how we're just promoting this to everyone.
For everyone who hasn't heard already.
Yeah, the coupon code is kunai, so that's KUNAI. Kunai.
Nice.
Yeah.
I with a dot, not the Y.
So overall, how would you guys, on a scale of 1 to 10, how would you guys rate this box?
It wasn't really a box, like the stuff that we got.
What you've gotten, you know what I mean.
I really enjoyed it. To be honest, the Gyutan was a bit too much for me, and I'm gonna bump its score down to 6 for the Gyutan. But overall, this was quite fun. The shitty toy from the Fugu Ramune, what was that about? That was complete garbage, no pun intended.
He's never gonna let that down.
I'm not gonna let it down, because if you go and get a Kinder Egg, you get fucking amazing toys. You get yourself like My Little Ponies and Avengers toys and Hot Wheels and shit like that. And the kids of Japan, I must feel very sorry for them if they're getting shitty toys. Like, look, it just broke. Like, what the fuck is this? Like, let's be honest. If the kids of Japan are getting garbage trucks, they must have pretty boring lives. To be honest.
Wow.
How?
And I don't know what to say. Like, what's the point of including a toy in the 8-pack of Fue Ramune when the candy itself is more fun than the fucking toy?
Wow.
Tyson, please keep this in.
Well, we're going to keep this in. But overall, as to what they sent us, it's amazing. And that's what I liked about them, because when we spoke to Japan Crate, we told them everything. We said, we're doing a Dagashi Kashi episode. We saw your service. And they were like, cool, we'll send you stuff from Dagashi Kashi. Not many people would have done that. And they did. And that's why...
seriously, like, thank you very much, Japan Crate. You guys are awesome. And you expect me, eventually to subscribe.
Yeah, so at least we've got 1 subscriber. And Joe, remember, use that coupon code Kunai to save yourself $3.
I know. But yeah, that was our episode. Thank you for listening. If you haven't, check out our episode for Kunai, which
it's in the same episode, Joe. Like, what the hell? Have you gotten high off the candy?
Apparently so.
I think Joe is like on comatose level. He's just eating too many candy.
You know what? It was too much sugar. It's getting to. If you see my desk right now, it's like not even just the candy. It's like everything here is with sugar. Like
wow, Joe.
Anyway,
you're gonna get diabetes, Joe. That's not good for you.
I think I'm immune to diabetes at this point. I think I've had so much. I'm just immune.
To be honest, these Japanese candies tend to have a lot more sugar than British candies. Anyway, hope you guys have enjoyed our episode on Gunai.